Captain Zara stood on the bridge of the Orion, staring out at the vivid blue curve of the planet below. It was beautiful, serene even. Hard to imagine no human eyes had ever seen this vista before. Beginning atmospheric entry, Pilot Finn reported as his hands danced across the glowing control interface. The ship shuddered as it hit the outer edges of the atmosphere, the advanced shields compensating for the brutal forces. Zara brushed a strand of dark hair from her face, green eyes scanning the mission updates scrolling across her command screen. Exploration vessel Orion, 50 light-years from Earth. No signs of sentient life. Breathable atmosphere. Orbital scans showed ruins of some kind on the northern continent. Take us in, nice and steady. Zara's voice was calm, belying the excitement stirring in her chest. A new world, a new mystery. This was what she lived for. The view screen filled with swirls of white as they punched through the cloud layer. Jagged black mountains took shape below, giving way to dense jade forests and glittering sapphire lakes. Finn guided them towards the coordinates of the ruins. "I'm detecting some sort of energy signature," Science Officer Kira called out from her station, brow furrowed. "Faint, but definitely artificial." Zara came alert. "Source." "The ruins," Kira said, sounding amazed. "Something down there is still active." Zara weighed the risks. No obvious signs of current inhabitants, but the energy could mean defenses, traps. Her curiosity won out. "Bring us in for landing, full sensor suites. Be ready for anything." The Orion touched down in a swirl of dust on a flat outcrop near the ruins. They were ancient, weathered stone spires rising from tangles of luminous violet foliage. But the geometry was too perfect for natural formations, definitely constructed. Zara assembled her away team in the landing bay. Finn, Kira, Medic Orin, and Security Chief Tall, his muscle bulk made even more imposing by his exosuit. "We're here for recon only," Zara reminded them as they checked their equipment. "Observe, document, take samples if safe. But at any sign of danger, we pull back." "Understood." Nods all around. They knew the drill, but Zara always re-emphasized caution. She'd seen too many eager explorers get in over their heads. The bay doors hissed open, and they stepped out onto the alien world. The air was fresh, sweet with unfamiliar scents. Gravity about 0.9 Earth standard. The double suns cast an eerie reddish light. They picked their way through the undergrowth towards the ruins, scanners whirring. Kira ran her gloved fingers over the weathered stone, eyes alight with fascination. Definitely artificial. The molecular structure of this stone has been altered, reinforced somehow. I've never seen anything like it. In the center of the ruins stood a towering black obelisk, easily 10 times the height of a human. Symbols were carved into its surface, swirling patterns that seemed to writhe and dance before the eyes. Kira scanned it, frowning. "This is the source of the energy signature. Some kind of quantum field, like nothing I've..." Her voice trailed off as the obelisk started to glow, symbols burning molten silver. Zara's hand dropped to her sidearm. "Fall back. Now." But before they could move, a jagged beam of energy lanced out from the obelisk's peak, shooting into the crimson sky. The ground shook, throwing them off balance. And then, as abruptly as it started, the beam cut off, and the obelisk went dark. Zara got to her feet, heart pounding. What the hell was that? Kira was ashen, staring at her scanner readings. "Captain, I think we just sent a signal. A very powerful signal." A chill ran down Zora's spine as she looked up at the now innocuous obelisk. Had it sensed their presence? Was the beam a greeting or a warning? "Back to the Orion," she ordered, fighting to keep her voice steady. "We need to analyze this, figure out what we've just stumbled into." As they hurried back to the ship, Zara couldn't shake the feeling that they had just set something in motion, something beyond their understanding. She looked up at the alien sky, wondering what might be looking back. They had no idea that far across the cold void of space, Ancient sensors had just come to life for the first time in millennia, and baleful eyes had turned towards their quiet corner of the galaxy. The signal had been received. Zara paced the bridge of the Orion, the image of the pulsing obelisk seared into her mind. Kira and the science team had been analyzing the data nonstop, trying to decipher the signal's meaning and destination. "Captain, we have incoming." Finn's shout jolted her out of her reverie. The view screen showed a cluster of shapes emerging from the shimmering portal of a wormhole. Ships, a dozen of them, sleek and angular, each easily dwarfing the Orion. "Shields up, ready weapons." Zara barked, adrenaline surging. "Hail them, all frequencies." A tense beat passed, then the screen flickered and resolved into an alien visage. Crystalline eyes set in a face like sculpted obsidian, framed by sweeping ridges that gave an almost regal air. "Greetings," the alien said, its voice resonant and precisely enunciated. "I am Ambassador Talok of the Krell Imperium. We have received your signal and come to investigate." Zara fought to keep her expression neutral, mind racing. The Krell, an ancient spacefaring race whispered of in the outposts on the fringes of human space. Advanced, powerful, and not known for their tolerance of trespassers. "I am Captain Zora of the Earth ship Orion," she replied, falling back on protocol. "We are on a mission of peaceful exploration." The signal was unintentional, triggered by our examination of ruins on the planet's surface. Talok's eyes narrowed. "You have activated the beacon. You have the key." It wasn't a question. Zara hesitated, unsure how much to reveal. "We have discovered an artifact, yes, but we do not know its purpose." "Its purpose is not for you to know," Talok said sharply. "It is Krell legacy, forbidden to outsiders. You will transfer it to us immediately." Zara bristled at the command, but held her temper in check. The Orion was hopelessly outgunned here. Diplomacy was the only option. "Ambassador, with respect, we had no way to know the artifact's significance. Surely we can come to some understanding, learn from each other's cultures." "You understand nothing," Talok cut her off. "The artifact is dangerous, beyond your primitive comprehension. It cannot be allowed to fall into the wrong hands." The screen split, showing a schematic of the Orion, vulnerable points highlighted in pulsing red. A none too subtle threat. "You have one of your hours to comply. Deliver the key or face the consequences." The screen went dark. In the stunned silence of the bridge, Zara could hear her own heartbeat pounding. She turned to Kira. "I need answers, now. What exactly have we found?" Kira looked grave. "From what I can piece together from the glyphs and the energy signature, it's a key, like Talok said. A control device for something the Krell left behind. Something powerful." "A weapon?" Zara asked, dread coiling in her gut. "Possibly. The glyphs speak of cleansing fire and remaking of the heavens. It seems the Krell once used this device to eliminate their enemies on a massive scale." Zara looked at Finn. "Combat assessment." He grimaced. "Their tech outclasses us in every way. Weapons, shields, propulsion. We couldn't even scratch them." Zara closed her eyes briefly, the weight of command heavy on her shoulders. She had a duty to her crew, to Earth. She couldn't let this artifact, this weapon, fall into the wrong hands. But whose hands were the right ones? The Krell were an unknown, their motives opaque. Could she trust them with such power? "Captain." Tal's voice was grim. "Your orders?" Zara opened her eyes, decision made. "We cannot give up the artifact, not until we understand it fully. Not until we're certain it won't be used for ill." She turned to the bridge at large. "I need options, people. We have an hour. Find me a way to get our people off this rock safely. And find me a way to safeguard or destroy that damned obelisk if we have to." As her crew leaped to work, Zara turned back to the view screen, to the silent menace of the Krell ships hanging over them. The clock was ticking, and the fate of more than just her ship hung in the balance. The conference room was silent as Zara faced Ambassador Taluk across the gleaming table. His obsidian face was inscrutable, but she could sense his impatience, his disdain. "Captain Zora," he began, his resonant voice filling the room. "You test the limits of our tolerance. The key is not yours to withhold." Zara met his gaze steadily, refusing to be cowed. "With respect, Ambassador, we activated the artifact unknowingly. We have a responsibility to understand its purpose before handing it over to anyone, even the Krell." Taluk's eyes narrowed. "You speak of responsibility, yet you meddle with forces beyond your comprehension. The artifact is a Krell matter, not a human one." Zara leaned forward, choosing her words carefully. "From what we've deciphered, the artifact is a weapon of immense power, a weapon that could devastate entire worlds. Surely you can understand our hesitation to hand over such a thing without knowing your intentions." A flicker of something passed over Taluk's face. Surprise, respect. It was gone too quickly to tell. "Our intentions are to secure our legacy and maintain the balance of power in the galaxy. The weapon you speak of was used in ancient times to quell the rise of unruly species, to prevent them from becoming threats." A chill ran down Zora's spine. "And you believe humans to be an unruly species?" Taluk steepled his fingers. "Your kind have advanced rapidly, spreading through the stars with alarming speed and aggression. You are unpredictable, chaotic. Some among the Krell see you as a potential threat, if left unchecked." Zora couldn't hide her shock. "Is that what this is about? You want the weapon to use against us?" "I said some, Captain, not all. There are those of us who believe that conflict with humanity is not inevitable, that you may yet prove yourselves worthy allies. But you must understand, the key cannot be left in your hands. It is too dangerous." Zara's mind raced. She couldn't hand over the artifact, not now, but openly defying the Krell would be suicide. She needed time, a plan. "I propose a compromise," she said carefully. "We will secure the artifact, but not hand it over immediately. Instead, we invite a delegation of Krell to come aboard the Oran, to work with us to study it. Surely combining our knowledge is wiser than a hasty handover." Taluk considered this, his crystalline eyes unreadable. "And if we refuse?" Zara met his gaze unflinchingly. "Then we will do what we must to keep this power out of anyone's hands, even if it means destroying it." The words hung in the air, a gauntlet thrown down. Zara held her breath, waiting. Finally, Taluk inclined his head a fraction. "You are either very brave or very foolish, Captain. But you have bought yourself some time. I will convey your proposal to my superiors." He rose to leave, his robes whispering against the deck. At the door, he paused. "But know this, Captain Zora. The Krell do not make idle threats. If you attempt to deceive or betray us, your species will pay the price." With that, he was gone, leaving Zora alone with the weight of her decision. She sagged into her chair, suddenly exhausted. The door hissed open, and Kira burst in, her face alight with excitement. "Captain, I've made a breakthrough with the artifact. I think I know what it is, what it's for. You need to see this." Zora pushed herself to her feet, squaring her shoulders. There was no time for doubt, for second-guessing. She had a crew to protect, a mission to complete, and perhaps, just perhaps, a chance to prevent a war that could consume the galaxy. Zara stared at the pulsing obelisk, its surface alive with swirling glyphs. Beside her, Kira was practically vibrating with excitement. "It's not just a weapon," Kira explained, her words tumbling out in a rush. "It's a key, yes, but a key to knowledge, to understanding. The glyphs speak of a great library, a repository of the wisdom of ancient civilizations." Zara frowned, trying to process this. So the Krell wanted not to use as a weapon, but to access this library. Kira nodded. "I believe so. And Captain, from what I can decipher, this library contains knowledge that could revolutionize science, technology, our understanding of the universe itself. In the right hands, it could usher in a new era of enlightenment and progress. In the right hands, the words hung in the air. Zara thought of Talok, of the Krell's barely veiled threats. Were they the right hands? She thought of Earth, of the fledgling colonies stretching out into the stars. Humanity was young on the galactic stage, brash and eager. Were they ready for such knowledge? Incoming transmission from the Krell ship, Captain. Finn's voice crackled over the comm. Talok wants to speak with you. Zara squared her shoulders. Decision made. Put him through. The screen flickered to life, revealing Talok's impassive face. My superiors have considered your proposal, Captain. They agree to your terms. A delegation will arrive within the hour to begin a joint study of the artifact. Zara nodded, relief and trepidation warring within her. Understood, Ambassador. We look forward to working together. Talok's eyes glinted. As do we, Captain. But remember, any attempt at duplicity, any hint of betrayal, and the consequences will be swift and severe. The screen went dark. Zara turned to her crew, seeing her own determination mirrored in their faces. We're taking a risk, she said, voicing what they were all thinking. Trusting the Krell, sharing this discovery with them. But the alternative is war, or destroying knowledge that could change everything. I have to believe that cooperation, that reaching for understanding instead of conflict, is the right path. Her crew nodded, resolve hardening in their eyes. They would stand with her, whatever came. The next hours passed in a blur of activity as the Krell delegation arrived and work began in earnest. Zara watched as human and Krell scientists pored over the obelisk, excitement and trepidation mingling in the air. It was a tenuous alliance, fragile as spun glass, but it was a start, a reaching across the divide. Days turned into weeks as they worked to unlock the artifact's secrets, and slowly, tentatively, something like trust began to grow. Kira and the lead Krell scientist, Valen, could often be found deep in discussion, their initial wariness giving way to a shared passion for discovery. Even Talok seemed to thaw, his disdain softening into something like respect as he observed the tireless efforts of Zara's crew. And then, finally, a breakthrough. The obelisk shimmered and opened, revealing a portal of swirling light. Beyond it, Zara could glimpse vast halls, filled with glowing terminals, stacks of shimmering data crystals reaching to the sky. The great library. As she stepped forward, Talok at her side, Zara felt a sense of destiny, of standing on the cusp of a new era. Humanity and the Krell, working together, unlocking the secrets of the ancients. It was a future she had never imagined, but one suddenly full of promise. She glanced at Talok, saw the same wonder and determination in his eyes. In that moment, she knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever differences they would need to bridge, it would be worth it. For the sake of their people, for the sake of the galaxy, they would find a way forward. Together. Zara took a deep breath and stepped into the light, into a future brighter than she could have ever dreamed.